What is up, everyone? This is ReviewIt. I'm James, and today I'm reviewing RoboCop, the remake of the old 80s classic sci-fi movie. I'm going to go ahead and say that I just recently saw the original. I am ashamed to say that I did not grow up watching it, but it came on TV the other night before I went and saw the remake, and I decided to check it out, and it is a really good movie. Yeah, I know I'm late to the party. But I did enjoy it in its time. It's a really great movie, really good sci-fi, really quotable, and mostly a very memorable movie. The remake, not so much. First off, one thing I did like about the movie is the acting. And when I say the acting, I don't mean everybody, but I feel like Sam Jackson and Gary Oldman were the top standout roles of the movie. I wasn't too crazy about the guy who played Alex Murphy / RoboCop. He does okay for this kind of role, but there was nothing about him that was really crazy, great, memorable about him. Next thing I liked about the movie, there are actually a few really cool action scenes. Some of them are kind of newer editions of scenes that were in the original, and some of them are kind of an improvement over some of the action scenes in the original. I won't necessarily say that this movie is better than the original in terms of the action scenes, because there are some in the original that were just really cool to watch. The action scenes are pretty good from time to time. There are a few that were really cool to me, and there were a few that just kind of, I don't know, they just kind of fit in with the rest of the movie, and they weren't necessarily anything that I would look back on and say, oh my gosh, that was a great action scene. Like I said before, it's a good remake. Not necessarily a great movie, but it's a good remake. It's kind of like Evil Dead from last year. Was Evil Dead from last year a fantastic movie? I know I gave it a 5 out of 5, and I'm going to openly admit that I did fanboy for that movie. I know, I just did, because I love the original so much. But is the remake of Evil Dead a great movie? It's okay. I mean, it was pretty good, but it was a good remake. And that's the same case here. RoboCop is a good remake, but not necessarily a great movie. Now to get to the things that I don't really care about the movie. One thing is that there are a few times, not very many, but there's a few times where the movie kind of slows down and it just kind of starts to drag a little bit. It's been a week since I even thought about this movie, so it's kind of hard for me to really pull out specific instances, but I can remember that when I was in the theater, there were a couple times where I had to check my phone for the time, and it just felt like the movie wasn't really going anywhere. As I said before, with the really cool action scenes, the thing is that with the original RoboCop, it kind of revolutionized the genre of sci-fi and action and all that kind of stuff. It came out in the time when action movies were a dime a dozen, and this remake, while it is somewhat faithful to the original, it's kind of to the point where we have seen so many action movies do so many different things. It's kind of hard for a movie like this to stand out and to be its own unique thing. And RoboCop, the new RoboCop, doesn't necessarily achieve any sort of unique feeling to it. I don't know, there wasn't any point in the movie where I was like, oh my gosh, I've never seen that before. Oh wow, I can't believe they did that. It just kind of felt like a modern day action movie with RoboCop. That was about it. My last problem with this movie, and this lies with the rating of the movie. Now, some people may not agree with me on this. It's PG-13, and if you have seen the original, you know that it is a hardcore R rating. The original had a lot of really graphic violence in it, and I'm one of those people where I want to see, if it's a remake, I want it to stick to that same thing. RoboCop, the original, had a lot of blood, had a lot of gore, had a lot of violence, and I'm not very happy that the new one completely gets rid of all of that. And I just felt like the movie was too kid-friendly. It felt like it was way too... It was too much of a family movie almost. I mean, there's a couple things where there's a few violent parts in the movie and there's a bit of language, but there's nothing that just really says, oh my gosh, this is for the people who grew up with the original. This is for the people who grew up when gratuitous violence in movies was somewhat okay. I don't know, I felt like it was a little too family friendly. Okay, taking all of that into consideration, it was a little bit of a trick for me to come up with what I wanted to give it. I saw it at matinee, and I felt like it was worth the $6.50 that I paid, but I don't know if I can say that it's a matinee rating. I think I'm going to have to go with rent it, because if you are a diehard fan of the original and you really want to see a new modern version of RoboCop, Yeah, matinee is a good choice, but if you're an average moviegoer, you don't necessarily know too much about RoboCop, you just see it as a really interesting sci-fi action movie, I wouldn't do anything more than rent it. Alright, well, that's it for today. If you've seen RoboCop, let me know in the comments below what you thought about it. If you like the original, tell me what you think. Tell me if you're okay with a remake, and if you've seen both of them, give a comparison. Which one did you like better? This is Review It. I'm James. See you next time.